History often credits leaders, wars, and revolutions with shaping the modern world. But beneath every political transformation lies something quieter and far more persistent. Trade routes. Empires rise where trade flows efficiently. They weaken where trade becomes fragile. Long before borders were drawn, routes determined relevance. The modern world was not designed in conference rooms. It was assembled along paths of movement: goods, people, capital, and information. Trade routes are not lines on maps. They are systems. They define which regions grow wealthy, which remain peripheral, and which become strategically indispensable. The earliest empires understood this instinctively. Mesopotamia thrived not because of military dominance, but because it connected river systems. Egypt's power followed the Nile's predictability. Control over movement meant control over survival. As maritime technology advanced, oceans replaced rivers as the backbone of global power. The Mediterranean became the first true economic engine of empire. Rome did not dominate Europe by conquest alone. It dominated by integrating ports, roads, and supply chains into a coherent system. Grain shipments from Egypt fed the empire. Silver from Iberia funded it. Trade unified what armies merely occupied. When trade faltered, Rome fractured. The pattern repeated across centuries. The Islamic Golden Age flourished by linking east and west through caravan routes. Knowledge moved with goods. Wealth followed connectivity. When maritime routes bypassed land routes, power shifted again. The age of exploration was not driven by curiosity. It was driven by logistics. European powers did not seek new lands. They sought shorter routes. Spices were not luxuries. They were strategic commodities. Control over sea lanes determined survival in competitive markets. Portugal rose briefly by mastering navigation. Spain followed with resource extraction. The Netherlands optimized trade efficiency. But it was Britain that perfected the system. The British Empire was not built on territory. It was built on routes. Naval dominance ensured uninterrupted trade. Ports became nodes in a global network. Britain did not need to control entire continents. It needed to control choke points: the Suez Canal, the Strait of Malacca, Gibraltar. These locations mattered more than armies. Industrialization amplified this logic. Factories required inputs. Inputs required transport. Transport required protection. Trade routes became strategic lifelines. Wars were fought not to occupy cities, but to disrupt supply. The two world wars confirmed this reality. Blockades starved economies. Shipping losses reshaped outcomes. Control of routes equaled endurance. After World War II, the system evolved, but the logic remained. The United States did not rebuild the global economy out of altruism. It rebuilt it to stabilize trade flows. The Bretton Woods system standardized exchange. Shipping lanes were secured. Institutions coordinated risk. Trade became predictable. Predictability enabled growth, but predictability also created dependency. Modern economies rely on just-in-time logistics. Efficiency replaced redundancy. This made trade faster and systems more fragile. The Suez Canal blockage in 2021 exposed this vulnerability. A single disruption rippled across continents. Modern power is revealed not in expansion, but in resilience. Who can absorb disruption without collapse? Who can reroute flows without systemic shock? Today's trade routes are digital as much as physical. Data cables under oceans carry more value than cargo ships. Financial networks move faster than goods. Control now means visibility and coordination. Geopolitical competition increasingly targets infrastructure, ports, railways, energy corridors, data routes. These are not neutral investments, they are strategic positioning. Regions that sit along critical routes face a paradox. Connectivity brings prosperity, but it also brings pressure. Every route creates leverage. Every dependency creates exposure. This is why trade routes shape politics long after borders change. Empires that endure understand this. They do not seek to own everything. They seek to keep routes open or selectively closed. The modern world appears globalized, but globalization is structured. It flows along channels designed by power. Trade routes are the skeleton of global order. They do not vote. They do not protest. They do not collapse overnight. They quietly decide who matters, and history follows their path.